Freedom of choice. Very interesting service. When Cindy told me this was what I was going to speak on, I thought, oh my gosh, of all things, I've used choice in my life every day. You know, what am I going to pick to talk about? And I had to rein everything in, and I realized, okay, let's talk about what's going on right now. And the first thing that came to mind is the 4th of July. Independence Day is coming up, right? This is the day that the American colonists that came to this country declared themselves independent. They broke off from the British Empire because they wanted to start a new life for themselves. You know, most of them back then when they came here, they packed up all their things and just took a leap of faith. They made a choice to expand themselves. Most of them were running from persecution, from religious persecution, from livelihood. They couldn't make it where they were. They were starving. They were forgotten, a lot of them. Some of them were even prisoners they let come over here. And as they boarded those ships, they didn't know what was waiting for them, what was in store. But they were committed to move forward with a chance at life, a new life, here. And when they arrived, most of them got parcels of land that they could work. They came with their farm equipment, their seeds, animals, all kinds of different livestock. And people would farm the land and put their energy and create growth. This was a new choice for them. They never had this before, a new experience. Others actually cut the trees off the land to build houses and barns, stables to hold the horses and cattle. And they even built ships to travel back and forth. They were creating something new, all by choice. And as this grew, their excitement grew within them. The nation was growing. There were cities and towns. There was commerce going on, exchange. And it was freeing. For the first time, they had freedom of choice. They were in charge of their destiny. And for us, it's kind of hard to think about because we do that most every day. We decide where we're going to go, what we're going to do. But back then, they usually didn't have those choices. It was survival mode. They had to live from hand to mouth. And as their businesses grew and they became profitable, the British Empire saw this happening, and they started to pull money out. They started to claim businesses. The people were allowed to stay and work the businesses for a small nominal fee. Others were taxed to the point to where they couldn't hardly make it. Families were starting to starve again. They were experiencing the old energy that they had just left. And they knew that wasn't what they wanted. They had finally had an opportunity to grow and flourish. And now it was being taken from them. And we as people, when we realize that we're losing something that we have put our energy into, we usually buckle down. We become committed to try and resolve it because we want more. We want more for ourselves, for our families, for our brothers and sisters. And they knew they had started a different kind of society. They knew this was something they didn't want to give up. So they made a choice, a commitment to move forward and separate from the British establishment. Now, most of us, our choices for the 4th of July consist of what are we going to cook out? What are we going to have to eat, right? And are we going to shoot our own fireworks off, or are we going to go see them? Those are our big choices. Face it. Okay? Back then, these people, their choices were not so easy. Most of them had to choose to give up their livelihoods, their families, and even their own lives. But you know what? I'm glad they made the choices, because we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't be the country that we are without those choices. They found out the commitment that it took. Now, I'd like to take you back for a minute. Remember being a child and having your imagination. Maybe you were playing with friends and you wanted to go to the deepest part of the ocean and just see what was there. Or maybe you wanted to climb the highest mountain possible. And you just thought this was absolutely wonderful. What about an astronaut? Or a teacher? Or maybe a professional sports person? You know, we all have desires, goals, and ambitions. And these colonists also had them. Maybe not what we have today, but they had different ones. They could see there was more possible. And especially after getting a taste of it, coming here and being able to see their energy expand, to see the possibility of growth within and without. Now, when I was a girl, I used to, imagine different things, and I guess I was a little bit older, not real young. I had the thought of what it would be like to have a husband. Okay, okay, all the little fairy tale things pop up, right? It was like, what would it be like to have a husband and a kid? Well, let me tell you, I was so young that I didn't have a vision like the colonists had. All I had was a little picture, okay? Just a little picture, snapshot. But let me tell you what, I was a heck of a creator. Because with that snapshot, I created a whole world. Yeah, you can laugh. I mean, next thing you know, I had met somebody, and sure enough, I was pregnant, and we were going to be married. We were living in a little 2-bedroom apartment. I moved in with him and his roommate. And it was so wonderful. I had managed to create something so different. I had gone from having to listen to my mother and do what she said and watching my brother and sister after school to the wonderful experience of picking up after 2 grown men, cooking their meals, ironing their clothes, and then eventually caring for an infant. Boy, my life had changed. I made such a wonderful vision there out of that little picture. And, I'm not going to say that it was bad or good. It was an experience. And it's something that I would never change. At the moment, I was young, and even though I was a great creator, I couldn't see beyond these little limitations. When we make choices, there's commitments that follow with each and every choice we make. And we grow with those commitments. We grow because we invest our energy. And each choice takes us down a different path. Where are you going? What choices are you making? Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? Remember those experiences, those imaginations back as a kid? The dreams and desires? Have you managed to complete any of them? Are they still your dreams and desires? Maybe. I hope a few of you have managed to do a few. There was a choice I made many years later after after that event. And it was one of the most important choices I think I made in my life. I had remarried and had another family. I was actually 4 months pregnant now at the time with my daughter Brittany, my last child. And it was time to go to the doctors for a checkup. And I went, and my husband took me. And while they were examining me, he said, "I'd like to talk to you and your husband in the office afterwards." Okay, so, you know, we met him in there in the office. And he starts to tell us that there's an issue. I'm sorry. And as soon as I heard that, my heart sank. And he says, "Hey, we discovered that the baby has actually got excess fluid on her brain. And that can cause some severe development issues and become even more complicated. So I wanted to call you in here to prepare you, because more than likely you'll miscarry. This won't go full term." And I was just in shock. I mean, I'm like, "What are you talking about? This is not what I was planning for." Excuse me? It still wasn't really setting in at that moment. And he says, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, if you choose to continue the pregnancy though, and you don't miscarry, chances are when you do give birth, she's not going to survive very long." I'm like, oh, at that point, it was like, okay, I'm starting to pull in my energy. I can feel it going in, and everything's starting to kind of get blurry outside. I'm seeing and hearing what's going on, but it's like it isn't real. And then the doctor continues on to tell us, well, if you're lucky enough, though, she could live. But more than likely, her quality of life would be very poor. She would spend most of her time in hospitals under nursing care because there would be so many challenges. The pressure on her brain as an infant wouldn't allow it to develop motor skills, all that. And I can feel myself shrinking and disappearing and pulling in. And my husband's sitting here beside me at the time, and he says, "Well, the choice is yours. You do what you want." And I realized at that moment I was on my own. There was nobody else. And I have to say that Spirit is wonderful, because as I withdrew and pulled in, I actually went into my heart. And there is where I connected, and Spirit took me away from that moment. Spirit showed me a vision, not a picture, but a full, complex vision. Because at that moment when I was hearing those words, all I could think was, how could I bring a child into this world just to suffer and then pass? Who would do that? How cruel of me to want that for a child. I had passed judgment on myself, but Spirit showed me something different. Spirit showed me possibilities. Spirit showed me the worst case scenario. What if I went ahead and went forward and I miscarried? Well, could I do that? Could I live with that choice? And I thought, oh my gosh, it took my breath away. And I said, you know what? Yes, I can. I can do it. It was hard. And then it moved on to the next possibility of what if I give birth and she passes in my arms? I thought, could I live with that possibility? And my answer again was yes. Yes, I could. And as each different possible outcome laid before me, I could see it, I could feel it, my emotions were there. And you know what? I wasn't dying from the experience. It hurt to see possibilities, but survived them. I could feel the hope as it progressed to the possibility of life. And at that moment, I knew what my choice would be. You know, here we believe that we choose our parents. My daughter had chose me, and now I have the opportunity to choose her. So that was special. And today, my daughter Brittany, she's 26 years old. And I can tell you, she's a handful. Oh yeah. But, you know, she's had challenges all her life. And she continues to this day to have challenges. But she lives to the fullest. And I know that she wouldn't trade her life for anything. She is full of it, full of life. And I'm so glad I chose life for her. The possibility of life. You know, as I was putting this service together and trying to figure out what to talk to, I just tried to go to what choice meant to me. And because this was one of the biggest choices I ever made, I wanted to share it with you. But not because of what I did. Because I want you to look at the choices that you have before you and realize what they can mean. Just because you've made a choice that you're not sure about doesn't mean that you're not going to become blessed, become enlightened, become blessed beyond all measure. The love and the light that the child has shared with me is beyond anything I could have conceived at that moment in the doctor's office. I never thought it possible. But it was expanded because I got behind it. I was committed. God was there to show me what was possible, what was capable. And this is within each and every one of us. We just have to make the choice. You know, as parents, we want the best for all our children. And we make choices in our lives, you know, maybe where we should live, so they're in the schools. Can they do the sports? What about music lessons? And as we make these choices, we hope they're for their best, that they are able to expand their consciousness and see their full potential. But if we would stop at that moment and go within our hearts and connect to God, we would see a clearer answer. We would get the full vision instead of just the picture. I like a movie, not a 5x7. Or maybe it's just because I'm a little thicker. But I'm telling you, if we all did that, we would see wonderful changes in our lives and in our children's lives. That would be awesome. I want to read you something. Okay, I'm going to put on these eyes so I can see. This is Jesus, and he's been avoiding the priest because they've kind of had their fill with him, and they're at the point where they're looking for him. It's towards the end of his life, and it's during the Feast of the Tabernacle. Okay, and this is out of John, chapter 7, and I'm going to start at verse 12. And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him, for he said to his And there was much murmuring among the people concerning him. Some said, no, he just deceives the people. But no man spoke openly about him because of the fear of the Jews. Now, about the middle period of the feast, Jesus went up to the temple and taught. And the Jews marveled, saying, how does this man know know how to read. He has not been instructed. Jesus answered, saying, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me." And in that last verse, when he told them, "My teaching is not mine, but his who sent me," he's trying to teach the people that if they will let go of their ego, go into their heart and connect to God, they will see the truth. He wanted them to see the truth for themselves. God gave us all free will, which means we have freedom of choice. Jesus was trying to teach the people back then that they also had freedom of choice, which was a totally new concept. They were used to living under the rule of whoever, the government at hand, wherever they were. They knew if they didn't, survival was very slim. And here comes this man, Jesus, telling them, it's okay. Go within, make choices, live more, be more. It was a new concept, and they had a hard time wrapping their heads around it. Most of them couldn't do it, but some did. Today, we're all here because people made choices. Whether you realize it or not, choices were made to get you here today, not just by you. But this morning you did make a choice. This morning you woke up, you might have laid there and thought, oh, this bed feels good. But instead of staying there, you chose to come here, to come to Inner Quest, to share your light, to share in each other's light, to lift in your consciousness and be fed by Spirit. We all make choices. It's a matter of how we make them and why we make them, and realizing that they all come with a commitment. So the next time you're making a choice, you may want to think about what's it going to take. How committed can I be? And you know what? The commitment's not going to kill you. You may find that you actually flourish in it. Grow and expand beyond your wildest dreams. And I wish that for every one of you. Thank you. If you take a breath, we'll go ahead and go in and meditate. Close your eyes. And just feel your higher self moving in through your crown chakra. And let it move down into your heart. And I want you to see yourself standing there before your heart. And open the door and walk in. And as you do, there's a path there before you. A beautiful path. Just follow it. As you move down the path, you see a flickering light up the way. As you get closer, you can see it's a translucent blue. And you move closer, and you can see it's a fire burning, but it's different. You can see through it. It's crystal clear. As you stand before it, you can feel the energy moving through you. And I want you to step into it. And as you step into it, you are transported up into a space that's different. It may be a little foggy, a little cloudy. This is a space that holds your decisions, your choices. All the choices you have ever made are hanging here. Some still waiting to be expanded upon. I want you to move forward. And as you move forward, you can see a golden sphere. I want you to move towards it. And as you do, I want you to place your hand in it. Here is the possibility of new and endless choices for you. As your hand is within, feel the energy and the tingling of new possibilities, new experiences. And just hold your hand out and ask for the right and perfect choice for you. And as that choice moves into your palm, I want you to slowly pull your hand back out. The energy of this possibility is endless. It will expand you, it will lift you, and it will take you to new places. I want you to take this energy and place it within your heart. And God, we thank you for this gift of freedom of choice, for our free will. To send your thanks to the sphere and the space for holding all your creations. And now it's time to come back down through the flame and step out. And you move back up the path. And I want you to step out of your heart now. And as you do, know that you have planted that energy. It is there to expand and lift you in all aspects of your life. This gift will stay with you. I want you to take a breath now. Feel your feet on the floor. And slowly open your eyes. I hope you've all received wonderful blessings. And go out there and make choices that will support you and your families.